Hello friends and welcome back to my channel for another episode of Summer of Stories. Today is episode E. I will warn you that these photos are a little bit graphic for some people, so I put that little warning up. But I got ear acupuncture done at a conference that I went to last year, so I decided I would do ears, so E, for today's episode. Now my title of this episode, obviously for this page, doesn't begin with an E. But that's okay. That's not the whole point of this. It's to tell stories that are associated with the letter rather than the titles of your pages being associated with the letter, but you can do it whatever way you want. And don't forget to get your free download over on my blog today for all the story lists for the letter E. I'll have that link down below so you guys can download it and keep that list in your stash. So if you need some inspiration for a story to tell, definitely check that out. So I'm using this beautiful paper pad. I think it's called Blue Blooms from Craftsmith Company. This is one of the Hot Buy paper pads. Now I have seen this at stores, so some stores may still have this available. And if I can find it on Amazon, I'll have it linked down below for you guys. Definitely adore this paper pad. I did a whole mini album with it a little while back, but very much so love it. I did pull out one 6x8 paper there. That was that pink one. Nothing too crazy. But that was from the Maggie Holmes carousel, and now I'm just going to trim down my layer here. So I'm using this pre-printed paper that says Bloom on it because I thought I could make that part of my title. And then I'm going to layer that on this beautiful like periwinkle purpley colored paper and sort of, you know, create a border. I'm just going to gut that really quick so I can save that for layering or for a different project later down the road. And I'm just going to glue that down with my ATG gun, which I finally found. I was talking on my Instagram stories a couple weeks ago about how I couldn't find my ATG gun, but I finally found it. Don't you guys worry. So since my photos are so large, I am going to have to trim them down. I will try to keep them face down and out of the way, so if you guys don't want to see that, you don't have to. What I end up doing instead is grabbing a sticky note so I can still see the photos and place them properly. I thought the pink really worked well with the pink that's on the flower in the bottom left, even though these are different collections. There are different shades of pink in the flower and in the word bloom, and I think it ends up working well in the end. I'm going to go through my scraps of this paper pad to try to find something that will work. I'm just looking for little bits of layers for here and there, and just kind of trying to build out my section over here. So I pull out another periwinkle paper that has a diagonal stripe, and that will layer nicely. Then I'm also going to layer my two photos on some patterns here. First I have to find ones that they'll fit on because they're a little bit large, and I want to make sure that they'll fit. So I found this one, which is a navy with the floral pattern on it and some copper foil, which is really nice. And I'm going to do a thin layer of that all the way around to give it more contrast. I am wearing black in these photos, but it doesn't bother me to mix the navy with the black, especially when it's not the paper that's mixing, it's just the photo. So I didn't really mind that. And then for this one, I'm going to trim it down a little bit to make it similar height to the other one, even though they'll be offset. And that one will be mounted onto this light baby pink paper that also has a copper foil accent on it. Now that those are matted and trimmed down, I think that's all of the paper layers I'll be doing. Obviously, there's a lot of room already taken up on this background paper with that pre-printed thing, the flower and the words, so I don't want to overwhelm it with layers. And this is a way I tend to do these types of papers. If they have something pre-printed, I'll kind of stick to one side and let the pre-printed thing shine. Just trying to coordinate with it will help your page feel more cohesive. I thought I was going to use one of these Fancy Pants tear out journaling spots, but when I eventually got the pink one out, which took forever because I didn't want to rip it, it definitely wasn't the right shade of pink. It could have worked. I would just have to bring in some more items that matched this a little bit better. It was a very, very dusty pink, so I opted to not do that instead. So next up comes the sticker books. I still adore my sticker books, and I knew that this one from Maggie Holmes had a lot of pink in it that would match. So I start pulling these out like crazy, and I'll use a bunch of them on these clusters that I'll be making for this page. I will say that this probably is my most loved sticker book. I think it's so much more versatile than some of the other ones, just because it covers so many different color schemes, whereas the other ones are pretty strict on their color schemes, but I really, really enjoy this one. I thought I might even use the alphabet in it to help create my title, but I opt not to go for the gold since I already have some copper on here from my other pattern papers from the collection. So I do flip through this. I did speed it up a little bit more so you guys don't have to sit through it. But after I pulled those out, I realized that I need to figure out my title here. So I pull out these Simple Stories alphabets, and once I have those pulled out, I realize I need to start gluing everything down so I don't forget what it looks like. So my photos will go up there, and then I'm going to end up using these brighter pink stickers from Simple Stories for my title. And I end up naming it Bloom Through It All, which you guys already know from the title of this video, but I thought that'd be a nice title. I wanted to incorporate ears somehow or an ear pun, but that just didn't happen. I couldn't think of anything great to go with the word bloom as well. I also thought I'd be able to use some old rub-ons that I had, but I didn't have enough of the letters and they wouldn't fit, so that didn't work either. But these clear letters would have worked really well had I had enough of them. So I really like the way they look on this, but it just doesn't end up working. So I end up going off camera and gluing down my real title here, which ends up being Bloom Through It All. So I cut all that out so you don't have to watch me glue all those down. But once that was done, I glue down my photos. Again, there's a Post-it over my face to cover up the needles, and I'm going to just finish this layout off with some embellishments. Now I will say that this took a different turn than I originally expected. I thought it was going to be very simple, sort of like my other one was for letter D, but this one ended up being a little bit more complex than I expected. I found some things that worked really well with it and ended up going with it. I do pull out some resin flowers. I love my resin flowers. I've been neglecting them lately and I finally brought some more back out. So after looking at stickers and die cuts and stuff, I come across this Pink Fresh Studio set that has the copper and the navy and the pink, and it's just so perfect. So I pull out a quote that says, "Stay true, be you, and you will," I don't know what it says, something incredibly happy. But that works perfectly. It's got the shades of blue that I need, it's got some copper, pairs well with the pink, and so I just go crazy with these Be You die cuts. I mean, they're perfect for this color scheme that I had picked. I pull out some of the sprigs to build out some of those clusters. There's hearts, a little label to sort of, add a journaling spot, and that's pretty much what finishes off this layout. I bring in more copper, which made me really excited because copper is something that's a little bit more difficult to find and work with, but it works out well in the end nonetheless. So once all of that starts to get glued down, you can kind of see it coming together. But that will be pretty much it for this layout. Don't forget you can go get a free printable over on my blog. Every single time I post a Summer of Stories episode, there's a new printable. And don't forget to hashtag your creations for this project with hashtag Summer of Stories 2019 over on Instagram or anywhere that you post so that I can find them and look at the beautiful creations you've made. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you're scrapbooking lately in the comments down below. Hopefully it's a letter E or F for this week. I have a really fun F layout coming up as well, so I hope you guys are excited. But thank you guys again so much for watching. Here are the close-ups. I'll have products listed down below if they're still available, and I'll be sure to see you guys again soon this week. But I hope you guys enjoyed again. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!